Let's get a word from Elliot Keck, Head of Campaigns at the Taxpayers Alliance. Often helps us out on these kind of stories. Elliot, good afternoon to you. Is there a way of squaring the circle here? I mean, is it upside down? Are politicians looking at this from completely the wrong dimension? If they had some kahunas, they could actually make the economy thrive and we wouldn't be paying more taxes. Is that possible?
Yeah, listen, it absolutely is. When the Labour government came to power last summer, it was clear we had a growing economy, but a weak economy and a fragile economy, and one that could be knocked off course without careful thinking about your fiscal and economic policy. And what did the Labour government decide to do? Well, this know-nothing rookie chancellor, I'm afraid, decided that the way that she was going to help the economy and boost the economy was to levy £40 billion worth of tax rises, including about £24 billion on businesses, essentially making it more expensive and more difficult to hire new employees and more expensive to pay your existing employees. And the result of that was to knock the economy, of course. We're now seeing lower growth, lower tax receipts, higher inflation, and shock, we now have another fiscal black hole that, again, for some reason, we've decided, and she's clearly deciding, is going to be filled with tax rises.
What if you had to whip out your fiscal crystal ball, Elliot, what do you think she's likely to do? Because this interesting play on words of working people, which for some reason, if you own a very small business where your turnover isn't fantastic, is not considered to be a working person because they got a tax rise in the form of employers' national insurance. So it's not that group. Then what group constitutes a working person? Could they circumnavigate their own rules by saying, right, we're going to go for the really rich? And that way, that's not working people. Because she did once famously, I think it was Angela Rayner, said that landlords aren't working people. You know, these kind of nonsense phrases that that get wheeled out. Can they use, is wordplay their way out of this, I guess, is my point.
I think your previous guest is right. They're probably going to look at frozen tax thresholds. They can formally say they haven't increased tax rates, but of course, with inflation and with pay rises, there is an effective tax rise. Otherwise, I think they're going to look at a whole load of really horrible, fiddly things. I think they'll come after people's savings, people's pensions. They may look at, I mean, they haven't decisively ruled out wealth taxes. I think they may potentially still want to keep those in reserve. And I think they're also just bluntly hoping that something is going to come up to save their bacon. But it looks very, very unlikely. So I think people's savings, people's pensions, all those sorts of things, I think people should be looking at them and thinking about them very, very carefully, because I'm afraid Rachel Reeves is going to be sticking her hand into your pension pot, into your savings pot, in order to try and fix the mistake, fix the mess that she's made.
And I made the point at the beginning of the programme, Elliot, that, you know, all of this would be vaguely palatable if everything else was tickety-boo, if it was, you know, easy to fill your car up with petrol and not too expensive, if buying food for your family was doable, if energy bills were at a reasonable rate. But, of course, all of this comes against a backdrop of a cost of living crisis where everything is very expensive. And to factor into that, we have huge waiting lists still in our health service. We have roads that have gaping craters almost in them. Just the basic stuff of life. The UK has sort of stopped working, and yet we're probably going to be asked to pay more.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know where a lot of that money is going to be going. Very bluntly, a lot of that money is going into the bed and board of hundreds of people who will be arriving today and over the coming days during the summer of good weather, small boat arrivals, people who have no right to be here, who have entered the country illegally. And that money is going to be straight to pay for their bed, their board, their dental care, their health care. You know, that makes this even more difficult, the fact that we are not fixing public services for people that already live here, for British nationals and British citizens, while at the same time those British citizens and British nationals who are working are going to have to be paying more and more tax. So it's a very difficult situation. The social contract does feel like it's starting to break, and the government needs to take urgent action.
Spot on. Elliot, thank you. As ever, Elliot Keck, Head of Campaigns at the Taxpayers Alliance.